Hello, my name is Keith, and I'm known as the Florida Stoneman, and today I'm going to be talking to you about lukewarm Christians. There are many, many, many lukewarm Christians, and this is something that Jesus will push a lukewarm Christian closer to Him in a way that might not make the person happy and make them very uncomfortable, but it will help them. So, let me talk to you about this more, because what's a lukewarm Christian? Someone who's half in and half out. Someone who, when they would like help from God, they're in. When they don't need God's help anymore, they're back out. So it's only when I need you, I'm going to talk to you. It's most of the world that does that, unfortunately, which sucks, because Jesus put so much energy and time and investment, and basically God has a certain limit that He's able to help people, and He uses most of His limits sometimes. So why do I say He has a limit as to how He can help people? It's because people are not doing much for God. So basically all these people would like 100% from God when they're not even giving 10% to Him. The Bible talks about tithes. You have to give your tithe for God to be able to give you more. It's written in the Bible that you literally have to give Him 10%. And He does that for your sake. God has everything. He doesn't need what you have, but He has to see some effort from you for you to be able to succeed. If you'd like to give it 1 week and every 2 weeks, and giving it to a church is not authentic anymore. Find different ways. Find, how can I give a tithe? You can buy God food. You can give Jesus Christ the Most High God food. You can leave out wine for the Holy Spirit. Just nice things. What about invest into your meditation room, or meditation stuff you'll be using to meditate with God. How about you find a charity that's an actual charity? What about you invest it into courses online about, and like what if I make tens of thousands of dollars a week? Then ask God to show you how to invest. Ask Him how you can invest. It doesn't matter how much. 10% is 10%. So at that point, you can just do a charity. You can basically find an authentic charity, or because most of these charities are stealing, or start your own charity. It's actually easier than you guys think. Basically God will show you. Maybe you can build a church for God. Just find an idea. And build a church for God. What if you have a giant backyard? And a lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot of people don't have giant backyards. A lot of people actually do have giant backyards. Build something. Just make something like there's no Jesus statues online. So it sounds ridiculous to people because it's not being taught. You can't even find a Jesus statue online. So maybe have someone build a Jesus statue. Let's just say you're a multimillionaire and you have all this extra money and you keep making money, and you give 10% to building a Jesus statue, a nice Jesus statue in your backyard or in your front yard. Maybe you just build Jesus statues and you put them around places. Like, it doesn't matter. Find a way to give to God and He'll give back. And I talk about the tithe part of the video because I talked about tithes before, but people don't really understand that fully. So I made it nice and clear. Find a way. Literally say, Jesus, can you show me how I can give back 10%? What if every week you basically save a certain portion for people who are authentically homeless, because there's some people who are pretend homeless. I'm not joking. I wish I didn't know about that, but yeah, pretend homeless. Yeah, there are some people who, they say they're homeless, but they go inside and they basically that was their day of work. They weren't being honest. So Key West. Ooh, wow. Just called a bunch of 26-year-old surfers living with their family, and their parents don't even know what they're doing, unfortunately, or they'll be I'm not going to get specific. One will have fine, I'll get specific. One person was in Colorado and came to Florida to pretend to be homeless, just to go back to Colorado to save money. It's just so ask God who you should be giving it to. There are certain homeless people who you don't give money to because some of them actually use it for real bad. That's a whole different topic. For example, Jesus stopped me from giving it to one person and had me give a large portion to another person because one person actually was going to buy this to do something like this, and they actually tried it, and the police were called. So outside of that, basically, let's talk more about lukewarm Christians, because I talk about tits, which is really important because give your 10%. Give your 10% to God. That's really important. So give authentic gratitude to God. Give yourself fully to God. But people are half with God. So let's talk about 24 hours of your day. You're doing what you would like to do, or you're doing what God would like you to do. Think about that for a second. People are like, well, I know this and I know that. I have to, basically, some people are like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I have to see like what I would like God to help me with. Why don't you let him decide? You're doing all this deciding. How long have you been on this planet? How long has this planet been around? You've been here for, what is it, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years? And you're gonna think about what you have to do next? Why don't you let God think? Why don't you let God tell you? Like, how old is God? Like, it's incredible. People are like, well, I'm gonna decide what I'm gonna have God do it for me. I'm gonna tell God this. You don't tell God anything. You ask. If you're gonna tell him, you're gonna tell him, okay, I'm gonna do this for you. You have to be careful what you tell God, because you're like, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna tell you that. Who are you? And I say that respectfully, because that's exactly what God says. God says, who is this person? It's like kind of like, what the? Like, my child is talking to me like this, and God just stays quiet. God is like, God stays quiet when you guys basically insult God with his intelligence. Basically, like God will just let you do it, just to say that you did it. So that's the thing with God. Let God do God. You ever just go, I'm gonna ask you whatever. What happened today? How did your day go? What happened throughout your day? This happened. Assume it's all good, number one. Why did it happen? Because that was God's will. If something goes your way, it's because you were in God's will. If something did not go your way, it's because that was in God's will. So you were in his will on the other side of it. So why don't you just, remember my video from yesterday? Give God 100% of your free will. Why are people scared of that? Like, I'm gonna tell you guys, if Jesus would let me tell. Let me ask. I'll be right back. Okay, this is important. I had to get permission from Jesus before I said it, because he basically told you guys that I could let you guys know, because so people can ask for forgiveness. And he said specifically for certain people to ask for penitence. Basically, God rebuked some people yesterday and the day before that, basically in timelines, because I've been telling a whole bunch of people, you have to give your 100% your free will to God. A lot of people have been saying, I'm never doing that. Like, people, and that's okay. Like, for some people, they're very in on it, and it really, I'm not gonna say, it's a large portion of the people who said, I would never give my free will to God. You can't get into heaven without giving your free will to him. It's a lot of people who said, I will not give my free will to God. I will not do that. The Father rebuked a whole bunch of people yesterday for that, and a whole bunch of people who, in different timelines, it's not very fun to say, but he basically says to ask for penitence and forgiveness and understanding. That's the thing, I do not. When you're a speaker of God, you just say what he tells you to say, and you don't question it, and you just do what you're told. I'm just the messenger, okay? So I've had people block me for giving a message from God. I remember, I'm going to say this right now. God allows me to say this. Basically, I told someone, you have to cut this bad habit off and you have to get your life straight. That's what Jesus told me. I'm not the one who said it, and they blocked me. They actually blocked themselves. They didn't block me. But because I'll just say exactly, because people are like, oh God, people are like, what is Jesus going to say to me today? That he loves you, and to take self-accountability, because you're the reason of your own problems. And people are like, goodbye. I'm like, okay, goodbye. So that's why he put me on this earth, is to be able to help people through him. So people, he says as directly as it can be said. Because he doesn't, God is unpredictable. So one minute he'll tell you, I love you, we're going to do the best for you. But you're not going to get all just, I love you from God. You're going to get, okay, you got to do this. Change this up. I don't like this. He's not going to say it as, he will sometimes. I'm not going to say that. So people, and that's the thing, to hear the full voice of God. I remember, for some people, I mean, you have a full-fledged obligation and responsibility. So when you fully hear the voice of Jesus, you have to do exactly what he tells you, or you just went against God. He made himself very clear. He makes himself very clear. So for people who desire to hear God fully, once you fully hear him, you have to listen. And why don't people listen? It's because they're doing stuff in their own will. Do you think that you know better than God? Do you think, and what happens when you don't listen to God? He stops talking to you. He turns everything off. He turns off your whole gift set. You'll talk to a spirit that pretends to be Jesus. And it won't even feel like Jesus, because Jesus has his own energy. So you'll be talking to your lower self. So, and Jesus basically said, nothing can pretend to be Jesus, although there's some things in place of a person's lower self that people will be talking to. So basically, Jesus corrected me on that one. So, and like I said, I'm just speaking for Jesus here. And he's smiling. So yeah, and God will have some random tests. He'll just have nonsensical tests. But he doesn't do the tests just for you. He does the tests for him. He runs tests. How do you make a computer better? By running tests. If you considered it a major test, it shouldn't have been considered a test. If you're walking down the street and you see money on the ground and you pick it up and you give it to someone, you don't even think about it. It's a test, but you don't talk all day, and you don't basically tell everyone about it. Oh, I passed this test. You're supposed to. For example, if a family member hands you $100,000 and says, "Okay, I'd like you to hold on to this and then to give it back to me by the end of the year," you say, "Oh, I didn't use it. I didn't use it all. Oh, I didn't say. Oh, I don't know where it is." If that was a test for you, you're still working on stuff. And I'm not saying that to be insulting. So, with lukewarm Christians, it's just a fight against God. If whatever you're doing that's not for God, you're fighting God. You are flat out fighting God. You are in his will or you're against his will. So whatever happens in your day, you wanted that to happen or God wanted it to happen. It ends up happening because God makes it happen because he wanted it to happen. It's in his will. So anything that happens is in God's will. So you're on the right side of his will or you're on the wrong side of his will. No human can be God. I see these people call themselves God and they can't even heal themselves. Like people who can't even use their legs, talking about that she's a goddess because she can have a baby. Yeah, all these other women can have a baby too. That does not make you a goddess. Like that thing is not a portal. That thing should. Okay. If you're calling yourself a goddess, that thing should not reproduce. Okay? So, goddess in the sense of, I get that there's a divine feminine and goddess, but there are some women who actually call themselves God, not just goddess. So there's two different definitions of goddess. One is more feminine empowerment, and Jesus does understand that, although it's too close to the definition of women call themselves God. I see it all the time. Well, I can have a baby. I'm a god. I'm a goddess. And I'm like, tell Jesus that. Challenge Jesus. If you're a God, then see how you do against the Most High God. Jesus just said, do it. So, that's the thing. There's too much. The biggest thing that you guys have as to not achieving your goals is a fight against God. Give up the rest of yourself that is against God. Like what? Let's just say you are applying for jobs and you're not getting any of the jobs. Did you ask God if you should apply for them, or did you ask God, hey, what should I do? And he basically says nothing because I'm just going to hand you money. He'll sometimes say that. He'll sometimes say that to people, or he'll say manifest and it will come out of nowhere. Or he'll just say, most of the time he won't have you doing nothing. He'll have you manifesting, but basically basically when you manifest, it comes regardless. And yes, I have prayers on my head. He who dwelleth in the secret place of the Most. Okay, yes. So, in my head, on my head, around my head. Okay. So basically, give God your 100. Give him your 100. Give him your 1,000. Too many people are just going straight up against God. But I would like to do this. I have to see what people are considering their own judgment versus God's judgment. It's so many humans. So many humans are like, well, I don't know if I would like God to do this. Why don't you just let God decide? Do you know better? It's so many people against God. And it's actual Christians. So just say, I'm going to let Jesus do whatever he would like today, whatever he wants. Let Jesus, just make it clear in your prayers. I'm 100% for Jesus, or you're lukewarm for Jesus. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao. God bless all of you.